Hello and welcome to Final Whistle this week. And of course this week we have the return of the Premier League, and the Premier League is returning with some good games. Manchester City versus Arsenal at the Etihad Stadium. Of course at Villa Park we have Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. And of course to help me analyze some of these games that are coming up, we have Sami Gitai online. So let's talk about the Premier League. Do you think there's something that the Premier League themselves have learned from Bundesliga, because since Indio League ilianza before all the leagues?
Yeah, I believe the Bundesliga somehow set a roadmap for what the other team or what the other leagues would follow. And in this case, you're looking at some of the procedures that have been followed by the English Premier League. Yeah, you look at them having some weeks of individual training, then you had them doing some contact training, and then they are lucky that they did have some 3 or so weeks of which they did some friendly games, of which the Bundesliga didn't have. But then looking at the protocol that they are going to be following, it's much the same with the Bundesliga in terms of the people allowed in the stadium, the kind of actions we require from the players. Of course, you've heard them saying that there will be no spitting. Of course, in the goal celebrations, they should have minimal contact. So, I mean, the Bundesliga did set a precedent in which most leagues are following, not only the Premier League, but also even in the La Liga.
This week, on course, we have Manchester City versus Arsenal at the Etihad Stadium. The last time these two sides met at the Emirates Stadium, Arteta was still the assistant manager for Pep Guardiola, and Arsenal lost, I think, 3-1. Game at the Etihad, bila fans, outgoing champions, hapa unaonaje?
I'll go back to the press briefing that was given by Mikel Arteta yesterday, when he did talk about the environment of which the games are being played, and he was saying that he's going to a known territory in terms of there is no pressure from the fans, and of course there is no rallying behind with the fans rallying behind the players. So I mean it's going to be tough, of course, but then they know that they are professionals, and so they really have to do everything that they can to get the results on the table. When you look at Arsenal, they are not in a good place right now. It is here that the rest of the players need to show that they really need to prove that Aubameyang should stay in the squad, and that means that they should put on their front foot forward and show and give a good performances in their matches.
Yeah, umeguzia something to do with fans being out of these games. Now, I would pretend to think that Arsenal wako na advantage hapa. Imagine wangeenda Etihad na Man City fans wako kwa stadium, na sahii wanaenda huko bila fans. This one could be kinda small advantage for Arsenal, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I will still now go back to the Bundesliga. What has been going on in the Bundesliga? We have had many away teams winning, and that could mean that there is somewhat of disadvantage to the home teams, especially teams like Leipzig. And now going back to the Premier League, of course, you do have some teams that do really need their fans in big numbers. You talk about your Liverpools, your Evertons, your Brightons. It wouldn't be a disillusion though to think that Arsenal would get the better of Manchester City here, just because of the crowd. But then you look at Manchester City, they are a good team. Even for Bayern Munich, they are that kind of a team that they don't really need their squad. But we have noticed that now football is being played on the pitch, and so there is nothing much that is going to affect them. So in any case that a team has a good play on field, then they are going to win the game. There is nothing about the fans right now.
Arteta as Arsenal manager, according to you, umewatch games mingi, umewatch La Liga, all these leagues, you've been following all these leagues. Do you think Arteta before COVID disrupted everything? Do you think Arteta had done something that was not there during Unai Emery's time at Arsenal?
Yeah, of course, you look at how the players reacted after Mikel Arteta came on. I believe there was more work ethic. You could see the players, they were more committed to playing, and of course the environment looked better. And you look at their form, okay, it's quite awkward for me to look at the form because it's not that current. It looks like 3 years ago.
yeah.
But then you look at their form, they had not lost in 2020 in terms of Premier League games. So I think they were in a good place. Maybe I don't know whether it affected them, but right now the managers really now have to work with their man management on how they bring on their players. You know, we saw the Bundesliga, some players struggling with match fitness, so that will be one thing that we'll be looking at as the league returns. But for sure, Mikel Arteta was doing a good job, and maybe he could get the better of his teacher, that is Pep Guardiola.
Sami, the last 6 games in the Premier League between these sides, Man City wameshinda all those 6 games and they have scored 17 in this game. Arsenal wamefunga 2-2. That's a very worrying statistic if you are an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, of course it's a very worrying situation, but you look at Manchester City, I mean, that team has been incredible. And for Arsenal, I don't know which kind of formation they really need to get here, because of course you have had some people saying that maybe Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang should play as a 9, Lacazette should be benched, Ozil shouldn't be there. It will go down now to the manager on how he's going to put on his squad, at least to improve the statistic. 2 goals in those games, I mean, it's very frustrating for such a team. And for Manchester City, of course, they are lucky because of course they have got their man, Leroy Sané is back, Laporte is back.
Yes.
I don't know what Arsenal are going to do right now, but I go. If I were the coach here, maybe I would prefer Saka to play on the left and Aubameyang at 9, so that we could see maybe some goals getting in.
Who needs the win the most between Man City versus Arsenal? Arsenal wanataka I don't know whether they still have those. They're still practically in the bracket of qualifying for Champions League next season, or maybe Europa. Manchester City cannot win the league, if you ask me, at the moment. So who needs the win the most between these 2 sides then?
Well, looking at a fan point of view, for me being a Manchester United fan, I think Manchester City needs the win here, because at least there will be a mathematical chance that they could win the league, and in this case they would delay Liverpool's chance to win their title this weekend against Everton at the Goodison Park. So for me, looking at the statistics, of course, Arsenal do require this win because they are 5 points adrift of Manchester United. That would mean they are looking at that 5th position, maybe if Manchester City's ban is upheld. But for me, I would rally for Manchester City to win this game, so at least they continue delaying Liverpool's chance of winning the title.
All right, now final results: Manchester City versus Arsenal.
I'll go for a Manchester City win, 3-1.
3-1 Manchester City winning. And of course, always talk to us on our social media platforms. Our Facebook page is Final Whistle, Instagram at Final Whistle KE, and of course Twitter at Final Whistle KE.